Pewaukee Lake, 20 miles outside Milwaukee. In this wooden cottage, there happened a thing to fill us with awe.
Don't tell me God can't make miracles. He can, and he did one for me. I said, I know that you can do miracles, and I said, I'm going to keep on till you do.
This is Mary Lemke. For the past 32 years, in modest circumstances, Mary lived here with Joseph, her husband. Joseph and Mary were in their late 40s when they married. It was his first time, her second. Mary had 5 children by her first husband, all grown and long out in the world. She is 81 years old now, and about 4.5 feet tall. And who's the boss?
I couldn't say that. I'm remaining silent.
There's no boss.
Invoke the Fifth Amendment.
We're equal.
Joseph and Mary have an adopted son, Leslie. When Leslie came to them, he was not yet 6 months old. He is now 29. Leslie is severely mentally handicapped. He also has cerebral palsy, and his eyes are gone, surgically removed in the first few months of his life. And the wonderful thing that happened through Leslie.
What did Leslie look like the first time you saw him? What did he look like?
He looked like a withered little piece of humanity. Eyes, gaping eyes. No, eyes that just took him out. And the poor little thing like this, just shriveled up in a ball. And skinny and thin.
Did you check with doctors at all?
Yeah, they said they couldn't do nothing. He's going to die. I said, I'll shut up. Get out. He ain't going to die if he's with me. I said, nothing ever dies that comes to me. And I said, someday he'll be something.
Well, could he feed as a baby? How did he get nourishment?
No, everything I had to put into his mouth. And I even had to push it down. The child had no sucking in his mouth at all. He couldn't suck or move the mouth. So I just took my finger gently, pushed it down into the throat. And then I could see it would be going down. But it would be doing it on its own.
So
there wasn't no movement in him.
You actually taught him how to suck?
Sure. I was stuck on his cheek. I'd go like that, right close to his mouth. And it was pretty near a year old before he could do that. No sounds, no noise, no movement. Just laid there, just like a little bit of flab. That's all.
You must have spent a lot of time holding him.
I did.
Cuddling him.
Sure, I did. I would lay him. I said, dear Creator, in the name of Jesus, I said, let this little bit of flesh know that it's loved and wanted. And it was a long, how many years was it, Joe, before he made a movement?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
I understand when Leslie was 7.
7 years passed. 7 years of caring, of unconditional love. Leslie still couldn't stand.
Tell me about trying to teach him how to walk. How did you teach him to stand?
By dragging him around tight to me. I had a leather belt. That's why I'm still little in here. See? I have to show you how I did it. I made a leather belt like that. Mm-hmm. And we had 2 loops on it, which Joe fixed, so the little baby hands could come through, mm-hmm. and I could hold him. Mm-hmm. And he was all flat then, and I dragged him around mm-hmm. in this front yard here. Dragged him around for 3 years.
3 years.
And then, finally, I tried him. I made Joe.
How did he sit? How did he sit in a chair?
Like this. Mm. We had to prop him up and tie him up. Because he had nothing to hold him up. And I got Joe. I said, Joe, you take him in the lake now. Swim with him. Because the kid was getting pretty old by this time. He was between 10 and 12. And I said, take him in the lake. I said, he ain't doing nothing. I said, you pump him up and down in the water. Like a child that would jump up and down. And so he did. I put that fence up. But first I consulted all the neighbours. I said, this boy is now going to begin to learn how to walk. And I said, I need that fence for that.
May would take him from the water, wrap him in towels, dry him off, and then try to prop him up by the fence. And he'd promptly flop down. Then, one day, he showed the tiniest sign of movement.
He moved. And he stood there like that, by himself. And I got that picture real fast, and then he flopped right on his back. That's the way it was all the time, till finally he got up by the fence, pulled him up, but he was 12 years old before he pulled himself up there. But he just stood there. He couldn't walk. But we watched and waited for it.
It took Leslie 3 long years to learn to take a few steps holding onto the fence. By then he was 15. At 16, he could stand by the fence, but he couldn't stand alone, never mind walk alone. And he had never spoken a word. And then came the day of what May calls the miracle she'd spent 16 years praying for.
I said, please, dear Creator, do one for me, please. And we had gone to bed. And I said to Joe, I said, hey, where's that nice music coming from? And it was soft and nice, but it was real music. And I said, did you leave that television on? He said, no, I didn't. And I got up. It was dark, about 3 o'clock in the morning. He's playing the piano.
May grabbed her camera and snapped this picture.
He looks like an angel, doesn't he? Oh my God, I threw myself on the floor and I said, oh, I said, thank you. I said, thank you, oh, thank you, dear Creator. I said, you've really made a miracle this time. And I couldn't get it. Oh, all the neighbours and everybody come running. Oh, how beautiful it was. Look, a child that had never moved. couldn't talk, couldn't move the hands and look at him. Right to that piano. He sits and plays.
Was this the first time that Joe took him?
Yes, I told him. I said,
What made you buy the piano in the first place?
well, I saw him move his finger, and there was a piece of string there that he'd gotten his finger in, and he was going like that. And he was listening. And I was watching. I thought, wow, that must mean that music. So I got sent for him. We went and found a Wurlitzer piano that they were selling for 200 and something, and we got it round and we put it in that bedroom. And all I did was go in there and bang them keys like that, up and down, like that. And still the child was motionless. I started playing records. I bought that there little radio television thing over there. I had that going. I really crowded the kid with music after that.
Leslie had listened to music for 3 years without a sound and without a sign of what was to come.
Now, would you like a lively one now?
Now, where did he go from there? Did he play other tunes?
Why, he kept on playing Mr. Right along his look, just like you hear him. And then when he started singing, that was the last thing. Good gracious, after 1 year of playing, he started to sing.
But he had never spoken.
No, he
couldn't
started to sing before he could talk.
There was one you were mentioning that a sailor taught him. What's the name of that one?
That's it, love me with all your heart.
Oh, could he play that for us?
Sure, he's going to play it.
All right. Yes. Love me with all...
Yeah, love me with all your
heart.
That's lovely.
Love me with all your heart, that's all I want, dear. Love me with all your heart, as I love you. Don't give me your love, or an hour, or a minute. And you love me, as you love me, from the start.
He sang haltingly at first, then better and better. But he wasn't to speak for another 8 years.
Where we are far apart, where we are there. Oh, give me your love, or an hour, or a minute. As you love me, from the start, with every beat of your heart.
he started to feed himself around 74.
Might my fingers.
I started with a cup that he could hold. It was a cup with both handles. I showed him how to hold that. I said, you have to hold that now. You do that. And then he did that. And then finally I got him onto a glass. He can't hold a knife and fork yet. They drop out of his hands.
Enjoy this one.
Yes, I'll have some more, please.
I'm there.
Scientists would insensitively call Leslie an idiot savant, meaning a person, usually male, who is mentally subnormal, but with an island of brilliance.
I'll tell you what you can do. You can sit in your own chair now.
Yeah, I'll
Ready?
sit.
Yeah. Go on.
Sure, love.
Go on, you get in.
Such persons are very rare. How rare, no one knows for sure.
Yeah.
Their gifts vary.
I'm all right.
One might draw brilliantly, another do calculations like a mini computer, or have an exquisite sense of smell. Scientists can't explain it. They can't predict it, and they can't train it into a person. They have a rude name for Leslie, but otherwise they're baffled.
Okay, about that.
May says that the dancing is exercise, that it helps to strengthen Leslie's leg muscles.
Oh, boy.
Because Leslie was so difficult to talk to, we fell into a trap. Although we knew better, we sometimes talked around him, as if he couldn't hear us.
Listen, how about Satchmo now?
Satchmo?
Louis Armstrong?
Yes.
Just saying Louis Armstrong.
Louis Armstrong.
Yeah.
This is Louis. It's so nice to have you back where you belong. Your love is well. Darling, I can hear.
On your hands.
Darling, you still growing, you still growing, you still moving strong.
Gosh, kid, you're growing big. You know, you're getting to be a real nice looking boy. It's chilly out here, though, but at least you got a bit of sunshine.
Well, that's nice, yes.
Come on a bit further, Troy.
Even today, at 29, with May always hovering close by, Leslie still takes his exercise by the fence.
Come on. Oh, flies!
Fly.
Hey,
Yes.
flies, look at them. Come on back now.
It all depends on you. Ask me hello, right upside down, and get your own hello, right upside down. One more time. It all depends on pass me out, fella, right upside down, and got your old fella right upside down.
May told us that he seldom shows any strong emotions.
He did cry once, though.
Yes,
Tell me about that.
that was when he was already singing and playing. And he was sitting in that chair. And he'd already just begun to talk little bits. This was just a little bit over 2 years ago that this happened. And he was sitting in the chair. And I saw tears. Never seen him before. And I said, Leslie, I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm crying. And he went like this, he said, I'm crying. I'm crying. God, did he cry? Oh, it flew out of him. I said, oh, come on, boy. I said, let it all out. I said, what you've suffered all your life, I said, it's coming out now. Let it, oh, and he cried. Didn't you, Joy? Oh, like that. Coming out of a kid, like as if the whole world was coming out of him. We cried too along with him. It poured out of him like a river.
He hasn't cried since.
Mommy, oh, my little mommy. The sun shines east, the sun shines west, but I know where the sun shines best. Mommy, my little mommy, what your kisses are but just to say bye, mommy, mommy, hold on, I'm a-coming, but I hope I'm not too late. Mammy, hold on, I'm a-coming, but I hope I'm not too late. Mammy, oh, my little Mammy, I'd walk a million miles for one of your smiles, my
Miracle. May throws that word around far too freely, it seems to me. After all, it could have a perfectly rational explanation. The word miracle has a very precise meaning. Miracle, a marvelous event exceeding the known powers of nature, and therefore supposed to be due to some special intervention of the deity or of some supernatural agency. Now, we have no reason to believe that anything like that ever happened to Leslie. It goes on, exhibiting control over the laws of nature, serving as evidence that the agent is either divine or is especially favored by God. When the Lemkes die, Leslie will go to the safe hands of May's eldest daughter, Mary.